Biggest deer. All right, so we're out here. We're starting to create our trail. We're on the far west edge of our property. Our predominant wind is out of the west or northwest, so it's blowing kind of into our property. But for those winds that we can get back here on a south or even an east wind or even a north wind, this is going to be our easiest access trail. So on the far west edge here is the creek. The creek is our property line. So we're going to run right along this path, right along this creek edge, because when they came in here and logged this, or whenever they dug this creek, they piled all that dirt up on this side. So a little bit higher, stays dry this whole length of the creek. As you can see though, it's just kind of a tangled mess to get through. So we're out here, we're cutting this trail, starting on the north end, and we're going all the way back to the south end of our property. And doing this, there's trails that come from our neighbors onto our side and into this thick bedding off to the east of me. So we're just working our way along and leaving those big funnels wide open, and then kind of like blocking some so that way we are funneling deer where we want them to go, so we know less chance of bumping deer in and out of the stand. As you guys know, access is, I think, is one of the most important things when it comes to hunting, and our property is so dense and so thick that, you know, if we can utilize this creek to cover one, noise, and just keep our scent down in there, we're going to try to do that as well and just kind of walk the creek edge. So this trail is going to be easy for our quads to get to the back and everything, but also a quiet way to access the back of our property without cutting through anywhere near the middle of our property, which is a core bedding area for big bucks and a lot of does. So we're going to get to work and try to cut through all this crap and start building the trail. Episode, we're going to talk about our access on our property and how we are getting into certain areas. Extremely hard to do in the evenings. Our property is set up really well to hunt morning sits, but we're going to talk about access and kind of how we're getting into certain areas. So I'm going to be jumping back and forth between the topo and then this hybrid, just because it's going to be easier for me to pinpoint kind of our access. And I'm also going to use the line distance feature in Onyx to kind of break down and how we're getting into certain areas. So we're going to start out up here at the top of our property, and we'll start the line up here and kind of show you where we're accessing. So obviously we will use, we'll go with a white line. So we're coming in here off of our barn, and we're coming down through here. We do have a trail that cuts back this way, and there's a food plot right up in here. So then this trail also cuts back over this way. And we recently have cut a path that's going to come down through here, and it's going to cross right in here. It's going to come right up along this edge, and then it cuts back up in here. And then this is the east access. This is our main access point on this part of the property. So we'll do this, and then it comes in through here, here, and then it cuts back. So right in here is kind of a big feature change in kind of our access and what we've done. So here's our east access. This is what we've done in the past, and kind of how we've gotten back into this side of our property is coming down through here. Now, with in the past, we've also, if we're coming in on the west side, this is kind of the feature in how we've come in through here. Is we come in through this way, we come in, we cross here, and this is where it got really messy. So we'd come in and we'd cut down through here, and we'd cut in through here, and we're pushing way too close to the bedding area, and then it connected right in there to this path. So that was our original access. The problem with this is we were getting too close to this bedding area, and when we got right into this section on a northwest wind or a west wind,
stupid to access from this way. I know that this area was just way too wet, and it was way too loud to get in. Since then, we've created kind of like a corduroy road, I guess some people call it, is where we put logs across. And it made this much quieter. So now we are using this a lot more than we were this. So this path this year, we hardly ever used it. East winds, south winds, this is the path that we would use. Simply because we could get back in here and we weren't blowing wind into here. If on a south wind we came this way, we'd get right here and our scent was blowing right back up into this main bedding area. So we didn't use this on a south wind, an east wind. Predominantly west and north winds is when we use this route. So this one, it was messy, it was loud, it was rough. So what we did this spring, and this is where I'm gonna have to go to the topo. So we would come in right here, and then this path would run. We cut a path, I should say, over to this edge. So yes, we're close to this bedding area, but in the previous episode, like I said, this is a big doe bedding area, and I'm not too worried about that quite yet. So then we cut this path down along this creek and got right to there, and that was that. So this creek now, or this path now, comes in here and down to here. We're eliminating this. We are no longer using this path. Hopefully it creates this bedding to expand and get up into here, because this is pretty thick and gnarly, and I know it's a good habitat for deer. There's a lot of tall grasses and things like that, so I would be 100% okay if we could expand this bedding area a little bit. We're going to get into food plots and positions in the next episode, and why we put some in certain areas, and you're gonna see why this path was cut here and here. So back to the hybrid. So that is kind of the main paths on our property. We got one there. We also, I should do this. We do have another one that cuts back over into here. In this path, we have another stand back in here, but we don't hunt that very often. So our main travel now is going to be along this east side to get back into here, and then come into here, cut down the creek, all the way down the creek. And you can see here, the creek comes all the way back into here and turns. So this path actually is a little bit closer to here. So, and then we can hop in the creek, cut down into here. So this is another huge access point for us, is utilizing the creek to get back into this area. This is where we're seeing the majority of our deer, is right down through here and through here. Really, it's kind of like a Y right through here, a Y. So that is our access. I could do this. And then we're jumping in the creek and coming down the creek. And then we can get over into here if need be. So that's kind of our access routes right now. And that's basically it. We're going to jump into the next episode. Some clear cutting areas and creating natural pinch points. So stay tuned, keep an eye out for that one, and I hope you guys are enjoying these.